All right, hi everyone, and welcome to episode 14 of Ionan's Edge, and also our 2-month channel anniversary episode. My review today will be on the Orion Solaris in raindrop carbon fiber with red accents. It's a pretty cool little knife, so let's jump in with some basic specs. The knife uses 14C28N steel. It uses a silver wash finish on the blade. It's a drop point, flat grind. This is a manual opening knife, non-assisted. It can be opened by using the flipper tab or by using the thumb studs to open the knife. It's a button lock. Pretty simple, straightforward design, but something a little different. The knife is silky smooth too. It uses partially inlaid stainless steel frames. So let's show you that real quick. If you look in here, you can see the stainless steel frames going back, but they come back in kind of a triangle shape like this and attach back here near the back of the knife. The knife also rides on double row, not single row, but double row ceramic ball bearings. So this thing is super fidgety. It's super buttery smooth. It literally falls closed. It opens really easily. And again, it literally just falls closed. So it's a pretty cool little knife in terms of those features. Let's talk about weight real quick. The knife weighs 4.6 ounces. It has a usable blade cutting length of 3 inches. And the overall length of the knife from tip to tail is 7 3/4 inches. I'd also like to point out that the knife does come in blue accents, red accents, which are the ones you see here. There is also an option for green accents and orange accents. And besides the standard textured black G10 scales, you can get the raindrop carbon fibers, which you see here, beautiful. And they also make a jade scale option for this knife. So let's talk about what I like. So a little bit of background here. The Orion knives are a design, and they've been designed and brought to life, brought to market by a member of the online knife community, Blade Banter, who has his own YouTube review channel. He basically designed out this knife and then crowd-funded it and got input from some of the knife community on some things that they thought would be cool to have on the knife, and then got it manufactured and brought it to market. So when you're buying one of these knives, you're supporting the actual person who designed this knife and had it manufactured. So that's a very cool, it's a boutique type of knife, but I think that's really, really neat. So, like I said, it uses the 14C steel by Sandvik. I think that's a great, great option for a knife in this price point and to kind of give you good quality steel without breaking the bank. The real raindrop carbon fiber scales, I mean, just look at these things. I mean, they're just absolutely gorgeous. This is real carbon fiber, and this raindrop look just has such a unique look and feel to it. Really, really cool. All the hardware on the knife, the pivot screw, the rest of the hardware is all T8, so that's really a nice thing too. There's not two different sizes. There's not T6 and T8 and T10. Like, it's all T8, which is a very common size for these Torx bits. It includes a titanium pocket clip, which is unusual on a knife that would be in this price range. It's not unheard of, but it's definitely a really cool, nice, cool feature. It's never going to bend or break or anything like that. Obviously, it's titanium. I like the fact that they beveled this off a little bit in the back here, and you again used all the same stainless T8 hardware on the entire knife. So you just need one Torx bit to take this knife apart, which is awesome. It does offer some distinct hand positions, so you can get all of your fingers on the knife in a normal grip here. So that would be your first main grip position. And then obviously the finger choil was designed to be used quite often. And it does provide a really nice position here on the knife. Maybe would have liked to have seen just a tiny bit of jimping there, but it doesn't really take away from the overall usefulness of the knife. The thumb studs do add a little bit of width here on the back, so that makes them useful for two purposes. But again, good hand position. Even if you have really big hands, you're gonna be able to get a pretty solid purchase on this knife, as you can see. The blade steel and the shape are definitely offering good edge retention. The 14C does have pretty good edge retention. Like I said, it punches above its weight class, I think, as far as a knife blade steel. The flat grind and the drop point, it definitely lends itself to being pretty slicey. It works pretty well, cuts through cardboard pretty easily, and is a pretty easy knife to slice with. And like I said, when you're in this finger choil position, you can really get some real, force behind what you're doing there. So I think that was, pretty well thought out. The ergonomics and the comfort of the knife, they're good, but they're also different. It feels a little strange to have your hand in this grip position, in like a saber position like this, and have your fingers so far back from the blade. But it's not uncomfortable. It's just a little odd. It's a little different. When you're in the finger choil position, which is not a position that I'm greatly accustomed to on a lot of my knives, the knife feels a lot different. It feels a little bit more centered and balanced in your hand. And obviously, I'm assuming that was by design. The button lock works great. All it really is, it's a really simple design. There's a spring in here underneath this button shaft. And when you push this out of the way, it releases the blade. You can see where it sets there. When you flip it back open, this basically, the spring keeps pressure on it until it gets here and locks the blade back. So it's a very positive system, very simple, pretty elegant. It's not something that's common on a lot of knives, although you're starting to see it on a few more. I love that he went for something different here. The knife, the button lock, the blade length, the oversized finger choil, the shape of the actual scales and handle area, all of this stuff is very unique looking. I mean, that's a really cool looking knife, and it doesn't look like everything else out there on the market. So the dual, like I said, the dual roll ball bearings too. I mean, this knife literally just falls closed. I mean, it is so silky smooth. It's just amazing how easily with those bearings this knife opens and closes. So really, really solid choices of materials there. So let's talk about issues. Were there any issues? Maybe one or two little tiny things. So I love the fact that they went the extra mile to put a titanium pocket clip on. I like the fact that it's got this kind of silver washed or bead blasted silver finish. I think that looks fantastic. It's a quality material. It's never going to bend or break on you. So that's a huge plus. But if you look at this, it is pretty thin. There's not a lot of thickness there. And I noticed a couple times when I was wearing jeans, and then the other day when I was wearing 511 pants that have reinforced pockets, this clip goes in and out of the pockets of thick pants really hard. I don't really think, because it's titanium, it's going to loosen up very much. It might have been cool to see this thing angled up a little bit like this. But again, it's a very small thing. It's not anything that, is going to would have kept me from purchasing the knife or buying the knife again, even if I'd held one of these. But it is something I noticed. So if you're going to carry this with thicker, heavier pants, you're going to need some effort to get it in and out of your pocket, because this pocket clip is really tight. You can get it up there a little bit, man. You got to really put some pressure on it. And finally, even though the materials and the quality of this build is exceptionally good, there was one other small thing I noticed. A lot of people might not notice this, but I did. But the knife actually came with 2 different blade angles on each side of the blade. Not the profile, not the shape of the blade. That's all nice and uniform. But they used a shallower angle on this side than they did on this side. You can see how much of, right here near the choil, how deep this side went. And then if you look at the other side, you can see that it's pretty small in comparison. Now, that is not necessarily a quality issue, but somebody who put this knife on the sharpener obviously had the angle just ever so slightly different. Again, not anything that would affect the usability of the knife, but it's something that I noticed when I checked the angles on it. There's about 2 degrees difference in the actual angle of the V from one side to the other. That's something I'll fix the first time that I sharpen the knife. I'll make sure that with my precision sharpener, I get the angles to match up perfectly. So I don't think that would put anybody off from buying the knife either. But let's summarize real quick. So this is a beautiful and unique knife. It has a lot of quality materials. Like I said, it's unique looking. The raindrop carbon fiber handles, man, those are just gorgeous. I mean, you don't see these a ton on knives, and offering this option just gives you something that's really a conversation piece and really offers a uniqueness that you don't get in a lot of other knives. So I really love that. It's rugged and it's affordable. So let's talk cost. So the basic version of this knife with black textured G10 scales costs $85. Again, that's a great price for a knife like this, especially with the quality of materials, the uniqueness, the button lock. It's a good size knife. It's really heavily beefy in the way that it's built. And a lot of different people are going to be able to carry this just because of the size of the knife. You're going to be able to, regardless of your hand size, you're probably going to find a good purchase on this thing. The way that it sets here with the red accents and the raindrop carbon fiber scales, the knife costs $120. The shipping on, if you buy a knife from Orion, is free, so you're not going to pay any extra for the knife. That's a straight price. So $85 for the basic version, $120 for the version that comes with the raindrop carbon fiber scales. Like I said, I think the knife represents a great value. It's very, very unique. I wanted to purchase something a little different for the 2-month anniversary of the channel. The channel has been so much fun to have. I really appreciate all you guys and gals' views, comments, likes, subscriptions. Appreciate it more than you know. Well, there it is. There is the Orion Solaris in red accents, raindrop carbon fiber. That is our episode 14 knife. Thank you everyone again for being so supportive for these first 2 months. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider hitting the like and the subscribe button down there. Leave me a comment too if you want. Let me know what you think of this knife. All right, that's all I got for today, folks. Thanks as always for watching, and stay sharp.